So day one of the Hanoi Open continues. And this is Nguyen Quang Thien of the host country up against Billy Thorpe of the United States, who's now coming to the table. This is now a second round match. Both of these guys have already played today. Billy Thorpe, former Moscone Cup player. Looking to get things back on track after a difficult couple of years for him. Jeremy Jones, US Moscone Cup captain, is alongside me. We're just having one or two technical issues with him, so we'll get his informed thoughts in just a moment. That's a shot that's gone wrong for Thorpe. Long way away from his intended position here on the three. Nguyen Quang Thien is a 9-4 winner over David Bala of Singapore earlier today.
Hello. Here we are, Michael. Sorry about anything technical, ladies and gentlemen. There, big miss there from Thien, and Not the Thien that we know a little more about, but obviously after winning a match, played pretty well. It's a player from Singapore, I believe it was. And now Billy Thorpe, who's starting to trend in the right direction, had a nice Perry Open. He's a player that's been working hard, spent a lot of time at the tournaments. He's had some results. Now, what should be a fairly routine 9 in the side. Shot. Just going to say, Michael, he shot that 9 in the side with a little authority as well. See some empty stands there behind Billy, but many fans in the arena, and it's just set up to where they can walk around the first couple of days.
Yeah, I've had very good crowds in today, and they're spread out all around what really is a vast arena. So this is the second round. They're playing for a place in the winners qualification stage. Still some first round action going on though. Dimitris Loukatos of Greece, who was quarter-finalist at the UK Open in London earlier in the year, has been beaten 9-7 by Michael Bowanan of the Philippines. And still going on, Sullivan Clark is on the hill at 8-5 against Chu Kwok Hong in the opening round. Back to this second round match.
Yeah, nice break off there. 2-ball getting covered up table. So an obvious push out situation coming up. Not only the brown 7, I think the pink 4 got involved. Cutting Billy off from the 2. Should be something down this lower left corner with the push out, getting to the left side. He may come off the 3 doing so. Billy, who seems pretty acclimated here on day 1, he's been came for the Perry Open. Feeling good, getting his rest. Interesting push shot here, and you know, Billy, who's considered one of the best bank players in the game, and when you're a great bank player, you kind of understand odd situations and what you can do in some safeties and something that you don't see every day. You see Thien is probably, I'm guessing, around 40 years old, probably, maybe early 40s. So a veteran here.
Thorpe has also played one match already and came through comfortably against another Vietnamese opponent, Lê An Dang, 9-1.
Yeah, Billy, known him real well. He's just a player with a ton of talent, but you know, he's just an intense guy, right? So he can start off, you know, maybe with that kind of intense attitude, and it's just him, and start off what seems like a little nervous at times and maybe a little built up for the match, but usually settles in quickly. Oh, really nice hit there. Really great control with the cue ball. Talked about it, you and I, in the last match about Nguyen Quang Thien and how he's got a powerful stroke. He's a player that can really seem like hit a gear at times, but Billy's kind of the same, but the last several years he's really understood how to calm it down and realize that, you know, steady is what you really want. You know, you're going to play your way into those, you know, real good days, but overall, you want to have that game plan of steady. Very good opener here. 2 on the side. Little off angle on the 3, so he's going to have to put a little something into this to get over for the pink 4. Maybe able to play it in the same side pocket. Oh wow, showed a lot of power there. Moved the ball over quite a bit. That 3 was not near the rails. Mike's long bridge. But this is where we'll start to see some upsets at times in that round 2, and of course some matches that are just going to be between 2 really good players or great players. And some of these matches we'll see upsets because, you know, a player like Thien, who hasn't played a ton of big tournaments around the world, he's going to get more comfortable, especially after a win. So thin one here on the 6. Tough shot. He's got to get command of the cue ball going back and forth, maybe bumping the 9 off the second rail. Got by the 9. Looks pretty comfortable out there. And a lot of nice shots here in this rack.
Well, he played Federer Gorst in the Perry Open last week and was actually in a very strong position. He was leading 5-1 in that match. And then in the next rack, made a ball off the break, then potted a good 1, and then missed the 2, having to power it for position, and that proved to be a big turning point. He didn't win another rack. But the fact that he had started that well against Federer Gorst was certainly something to take note of.
Yeah, and you can bet it was probably a little bit of a mistake that got him out of that match. And then of course, actually when I entered the pool room at the Perry Open, that match was going on. I think he broke and ran the first 5 from the lag and was up 5-0 in that match before Gorst went on to win it. And really, probably the only match Gorst was seriously threatened. Now that was in the early stages of the Perry Open where they still had the double elimination. So. Nice 3-rail attempt here. Cue ball's going to spin off the second rail and put Billy in position to get game 2. He's got to pay attention here, and should come a couple rails past the 9 for the 9 in the right middle. And we can play it for the corner. I like coming for the side. I'm a corners guy, but no reason to worry about the speed here. Go ahead and let the stroke out a little bit. And I'll tell you what Billy missed there was that little pause at the cue ball, and something he really leans on.
Replay gave us a nice angle there to illustrate exactly what you were talking about. So chance missed. And that's nicely taken on the 8. He's going to be very nice on the 9. And so it's going to be an even start here. And that makes it 1-all. So Sullivan Clark, who we saw playing for New Zealand at the World Cup, still looking for one more rack to get through to this round. Still playing his first match and leads Chu Kwok Hung of the host nation 8-5. So primarily now it's about second round action, which is what we're watching here on the main table. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz over on table 2, world champion. We can now say former US Open
for a big win, and like I said, I think he's getting back to that point of being the type of player and playing match in, match out like he wants. I think he's a player that can get some momentum and rides that momentum as well. And like I said, I think more than anything, he's just due.
It was last 16 at the Spanish Open.
Last 16.
Yeah, but he's had a few good tournaments since then. Last 32 and full at the European Open. Last 32 again, Atlantic City at the US Open. Semis of the Sharks International Tournament. And that was part of the Japan team. Got to the quarterfinals of the World Cup of Pool. So when you talk about trending, you can see exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, and you know, and I think he's a guy that can handle the heat. I think he does it his way, which I love. And it doesn't have to be, you know, what people would say textbook at times. I think the shot clock is definitely something that doesn't bother him too much. Something you're going to have to deal with to win any of these events. And, you know, we're on this side of the world as well. And I don't think that's a bad thing for Nguyen Quang Thien. And boy, wouldn't the rest of the world love to see him win one of these events.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, if he gets down in there, he's going to have fans.
Yeah, such a popular character. Been around for some time. He's 40 years of age now.
Yeah, but he's playing the best pool of his life.
Absolutely.
I think, yeah. Used to be in pool, they always said your prime. When I was coming up, a lot of the veterans said, you know, 28 to 40, 42, maybe 44. And just because you gain so much experience and understanding how to handle things under the gun, and you know that number's dropped. But I think Oy, he runs right along with these youngsters. He carries a lot of energy. Don't really feel like he doubts himself very often, or ever at all. And like I said, I just kind of feel like he's due. And there again, Billy didn't have that pause at the cue ball. And when he doesn't have that, it's just something. It's like a trigger, you know, like in golf, you waggle, 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 and you come set with the club. It's just the same thing in pool for the most part.
Do you think that's something that he might have been struggling with in practice, or is it something that perhaps he's gone out and started the match and it's just crept in?
Well, to be fair, it's when the blood gets flowing, because Billy wasn't someone that has had that pause at the cue ball before the final swing prior to a few years ago when we worked on it a lot. You know, when the nerves get going, the stroke usually gets faster with everyone. And if you don't have something to settle it down a little bit, if you ask Skylar Woodward, if any change at all that he's ever made, technically, the pause at the cue ball before the final swing was the biggest one. And this guy is certainly a shot maker. Now, it's funny how the shot makers are sometimes the easier ones that get away.
It's been a story of missed chances so far in this match.
And I've had differences of opinions from the players on the pockets and the way they're playing so far, but from what I've seen a lot of balls hang, and that one should have hung, of course, but I've seen some ones that hit closer still hang in the pocket. I think these conditions are going to be difficult this week. There's that pause. That's the one I'm talking about.
That's why he's potted the 8, landed plumb on the 9-ball. All of which leads to Billy Thorpe leading once again at 2-1. That first round match we were keeping an eye on is over now. Sullivan Clark of New Zealand has won 9-5 against Chu Kwok Hung. And in the second round, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has a 4-2 lead over Sung Lik Chio. Tony An Han now 4-2 up on Ko Ping Han. Michael Feliciano improving rapidly from the Philippines. He's on the hill at 8-3 against the American Michael Jednak. Torsten Homan now 6-1 up on Ronnie Oldervik. Ralph Souquet trailing 4-2 against Trien Van Vin. Lee Van Corteza is 8-5 down against Wen Puk Long. There's the 7. The combination that resulted in Thorpe missing the 7. Got back in, took his chance. Mickey Kraus from Denmark had that heartbreaking defeat to FSR in Atlantic City. 7-0 up now against American Sonny Phan. Sanyin Pelovanovic 5-3 down to Bui Trong An. So lots going on. We're back here on the main table. It's turned out nice. My pick is Raga for the week.
Well, that's a good one. I should have asked. I'm sorry, Michael.
Well, it might seem like cheating a bit when he's already won a couple of matches for the loss of a single rack, but they were matches we would have expected him to win anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
You talk about players trending, and he got himself into that situation, which, although we knew he was a good player, he wasn't really familiar with that kind of environment at the European Open, and ended up having some very good wins and almost winning the whole thing. I don't think anyone would be surprised if he was to win it. Of course, the no American picks rule means you can't pick Federal Gorst again. So the miss on the 2. Now, has this left a shot at a combination here, the 2-9?
Yeah, it sure does. And looks like it's really set up, actually. We'll see again in a moment. Maybe not. Maybe not. This is going to be an awfully thin one to get at the 2-9. In the English, very, very difficult to make.
Well, if there was any chance, he was always going to be tempted into it, wasn't he?
Yeah, and anytime you have to cut it back like that, you need a little more speed to try and lessen that cut-induced throw. And even there, that kind of shows you the pocket, right? It's not, you know, day one, we see a lot of balls go in that we're not going to see on day 2, 3, and then beyond.
Billy Thorpe, 27 years of age, which seems hard to believe, really. It feels like he's been around for a very long time. Start of the year ranked 71 in the world. That was always likely to improve, and it has. He's now up to number 49.
And he's going to give up game 4 in an early combination. He looks a little loose with it at the moment. Got to shore that up, Billy does. And sometimes these players, they got to realize they and remind themselves they have a timeout. And I'm not saying he's got to go to it now, but definitely maybe something to get himself a little calmed down.
Well, that was pretty much a guaranteed 2-9 combination there. Had attempted it earlier with a much more difficult shot, but was never likely to miss that one, and so we're level again at 2 each. To Lian Han has now made it 5-2 over Ko Ping Han, also in this second round. Nguyen Phuc Long still on the hill against Lee Van Corteza. That's 8-6 now. Sanyin Pelovanovic did very well in a lot of these big field matchroom events over the last 18 months or so. He's now 6-3 down to Bui Trong An. Nicky Krause heading for a whitewash, 8-0 against Sonny Phan.
Well, I know a little bit about the player Sanjin's playing. Seen him play a handful of times, and I was over there to watch that match, and I was pretty aware that Sanjin's going to have to play a solid one to win, or to win comfortably anyways. And now he's in battle. Push out coming, you would suspect, from Thien. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you felt good about hitting the bottom of the 2, that's how you would play it if there wasn't a push out available. And And Billy's got to slow himself down a little bit. Usually it helps with the stroke as well. He's going to try and edge this and run the ball. May have left a little gap there. Nice effort. Don't suspect an offensive shot coming if he can see it with the 7 blocking the pocket. Good look there. Definitely snookered. Easy kick. Hard to get a reward, but a lot of traffic out there. Oh, didn't expect that miss. And like ball in hand, that's where you just start to piece it together and do a little more work, get that working mentality.
Said it feels like he's been around for a while. He's been winning events in the States for some time, really. It was around 2017 he started to win some of those smaller tournaments. Most notable of those, the Turning Stone Classic, a tournament with a lot of prestige and history. In 2019 he was among the top 10 money winners in the world for the first time. So you can certainly include him in that category, I think, of players who heading very much in the right direction and then had their progress stalled a bit by COVID and the shutdown. Now he's had other issues as well. Made his Moscone Cup debut in that 2017 season. It was the start of 4 in a row, including 2 winning team appearances in 18 and 19. Last time he played was on the defeated American side in the COVID Moscone in Coventry at the end of 2020.
Yeah, knocking some balls in here and some nice shots. And again, ball in hand gets you set up in a good spot, but just don't see a consistent rhythm yet. Billy will never be a slow player. It's just not him. And who would ask him to, but it's just, again, got to find that consistent rhythm is where it's at.
Thing that's consistent about this match so far is that he's winning every second rack. He won the first, he won the third, now he's won the fifth. So for the third time, Billy Thorpe leads by a single rack at 3-2 on this opening day of the Hanoi Open. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz also in this round. He's now made it 5-2 against Soonlik Chio. Tony An Han leads Ko Ping Han by the same score. Suke 5-2 down against Trine Van Bin. Michael Feliciano is now 1-9-3 against American Michael Jednak. Torsten Homan is 6-4 up on Ronnie Oldervik. Pius Labutas is a 5-3 lead over Emil Leonor. Sanyan Pelovanovic battling back 6-5 down against Bu Trong An. Mickey Krabs still looking for one more against Sonny Fan. That's 8-0. 3-2 to Thorpe here.
Really breaking the balls nice. Cue ball got down below the rack there. That's going to happen occasionally with the cut break. Now a long 2 ball. Got a little action on the 9 there. Some movement. Cue ball would have been better though. I think it got a kiss on the bottom of the 9. So Billy's got to be really satisfied so far in his second round match with the break shot. Now here, going forward, looks like the 9's involved. Not a ton of angle, but this is where you just don't want to smack it. Kind of hit it clean to stun 2 rails around the pink 4.
That's the sort of shot that will test your rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. And he got up off the ball once, trying to recognize how to hit it. Just no, not totally there yet. All right, simple snooker. Should be a simple kick. Here he can roll this and try and play the 2 on the side rail. Oh, he can see a piece of it, and that's huge because now he can thin this ball and kind of make it, maybe get underneath the purple, but make it to where the 2 doesn't have a pocket. You want the red 3. Oh, he played with a lot of speed. And don't understand that play. I think you're an underdog shooting at that. I think the safety was probably the shot. Nice shot there from Thien. Really hadn't seen him shoot a shot with a lot of side spin yet. It's been a lot of like stuns, kind of heavy hits, and he's done real well with those. But kind of curious if he had to play some delicate ones, and that one was proof he can do it. A little straightish here, drawing the ball. He's got to dodge the 7. Should be okay. I tell you, it was the end at first, really putting a lot of speed on every shot, it seemed like, but now it's starting to calm down and just kind of walk the cue ball around the table a bit. Should tie this match.
Yeah, and in so doing, he'll continue the pattern. 3 times he's been 1 behind. If this 9 goes in 3 times, he will have immediately leveled. Yeah, but it wasn't guaranteed, was it? This one is, though.
Yeah, and that's his style, to hit the ball harder, it seems like, and that one got him. And I often wonder why the players want to shoot the 9 so hard. I see it from a lot of the great top names. They really want to fire the 9, it seems like, and to me, it just shrinks the pocket.
And that shot makes a huge difference. Instead of 3-all, he's now 2 behind for the first time at 4-2. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has now made it 6-2 in his match against Sung-Lik Cheo. Tolian Han leading Ko Ping Han by the same score. Ralph Souquet is 6-2 down against Trinh Van Binh. Torsten Homan, though, another German world champion of the past, leads 6-2 against Ronnie Oldervik. Nguyen Phuc Long is on the hill against Lee Van Corteza, experienced Philippines player. Well, actually, that one's just gone 8-all, so both on the hill now. Pius Labuta 6-3 up on Emil Leonor. Sanyan Pelovanovic has leveled now at 6-all against Wei Trong An. Winner of that will play Mickey Kraus, who has now finished it off 9-0 against Sonny Fan. Kraus has got through his first 2 matches with the loss of just a single rack. 4-2 to Thorpe here.
Yeah, dry break it seems. First time Billy's missed the 1. Didn't seem like he hit him too poorly at all, and a big chance after a big miss in the last rack here for Thien. Could be an early one. The 3-9 setup somewhat decent with the 2 near. Of course, it's a pretty open table, so we'll see. He's maybe a little lingering from that last mistake in the last game, and a huge miss on the 1 ball. And I see these pockets tightening up. That's what I see.
We say so often, don't we, that the player who's less experienced out on the main table might look comfortable enough early on, but when things start to go wrong, like they did at the end of the last rack for Nguyen Quang Thien, that's a big test. It often seems to sap the morale. Thorpe, of course, having played in all those Mosconis, very comfortable in any setting at this stage. I imagine, Jeremy, when he was on your team back in 2020, never mind the playing side of it, he was just great to have around the camp because his enthusiasm that week, I thought, was off the scale.
Yeah, and it was a funny week in 2020 with the pandemic and whatnot, but it's always good to have Billy around, and you know, it's a fine line. Of course, you got to keep yourself sharp, but you know, there is a lot of downtime on those type of events, and you know, just you know, Billy's a great guy, and he'd be good for any team in any sport. He grew up playing a lot of sports, a lot of team sports, and I'm sure he was an asset in all of them. But the one thing about it, he's got to settle himself. Like what I see so far is he's almost in position to shoot the next shot before the cue ball, like right here. He's already there. He hasn't taken his time walking around. I've seen it about 10 times already in these short 6 games. So that's, you know, not really going to bode well for him overall. And I don't think he'll do that as he continues through the event. But, I mean, he could easily lose this match. Just a capable player. Tell he's starting to settle in with the stroke a bit, but even right here, he's ready to shoot before the cue ball's even. And again, you got to think about where my problems lie a little bit, or how things start to become a problem, right? And that's one of them with Billy. He can get in a bit of a rush.
Well, how quickly this has all changed. It was only maybe 5 or 6 minutes ago, and it looked as though this one was going 3-all. Now it's suddenly 5-2 to Billy Thorpe, and he's getting firmly in control of this match, trying to get through to winner's qualification. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is also trying to do that. He's lost the 9th rack though, so Sum Lik Cheo is still in that one at 6-3. And the match, where they're playing for the right to meet the winner of that one, well, continues to keep pace with it, because it's also 6-3 for To Lian Han of Singapore against Ko Ping Han. Ronnie Aldervik of Norway has pulled one back against Torsten Homan. That one's 6-3 now. Lee Van Corteza has survived it against Nguyen Quang Thien, coming through 9-8. Could play Pius Labutus, who's 6-3 up on Emil Leonor. Sanyan Pelovanovic has now hit the front against Bui Trong An. That's really turned around. 7-6 now to the man from B&H. Thorpe 5-2 up here.
All right, the one going towards the corner, the 2 near. I think he can play for this if he wants. The 2 is cuttable. Real kind of nasty situation near this lower side pocket from the overhead, the 4-7, and really tied up. So I don't know if he wants to shoot at this or not. Got to think of a plan here on that pink 4. You can't get yourself that great on the 3. You're not going to really advance any further in the rack. Trying to come around to get some kind of angle. And if he's not cut off here, he may be able to produce something to get on the pink 4, maybe open it. Yeah, he's got, top inside. The way the tables are playing, even though it's early in the event, they're not sliding that much. So it looks like top inside is doable if he happens to hit it really well. Again, no pause at the cue ball. It's been a common theme.
I know a lot of the players come to you for bits of advice, but in a situation like that where you have spotted that, will you, if you see Billy later, have a word with him about that? Will you raise it with him that he's
100%.
struggling with that pause?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, this is it's just like Billy's got all the skills. I mean, he really does. I mean, so, you know, lean on there is, of course, trying to keep improving those skills. But when you have all those skills, you got to pick apart where your weaknesses are a little bit, you know. And physically, it's more about that pause at the cue ball, but otherwise, it's a little mentally just slowing himself down. But also, when he slows down walking around the table, it seems like he doesn't miss that pause at the cue ball as well. It's just they go together. Now I'm playing a triple combination, trying to get the rack open. Good speed there to hold the 3 in position. Could easily underhit or overhit that. Here, he's got a little angle, probably going to draw the ball for the side. Just got to pay attention to the black 8. tempo there on the stroke. Went past it a little bit, so this is going to be off angle. This is where, you know, if you're not that familiar with pool, even though he's close and it appears like it's really okay, he's got to work this a little bit to get good on the 7. Little spin here. Nice shot. Cue ball's going to get on top of the 8. Very difficult safety here. You know, if he's really close to it, he could chip off the top and come behind the 9. But he can still do that, but he's almost got to kind of mass say it. That way he can hold the 8 on the rail while he tries to bring the cue ball up the table. All right, should be a safety here. Could cut this in, but I like kind of swinging the 8 2 rails off his left side of the 8, bringing it, you know, kind of out a little bit, then bring the cue ball 2 rails up the table, trying to utilize the 9. He's cutting it out. Anytime the player takes that long down, they're cutting it out. Watch outside pocket. Difficult here. Looks like he's cutting it. Cue ball may come into the 9 if he hits it close to the pocket. There it is.
Wow, and that's the way to end the rack. So, having lost 3 in a row, Nguyen Quang Thien has knocked in the 9 via the 8. Right back in it now at 5-3 down. World Cup's going on at the moment in rugby and cricket. And the World Cup of Pool back in the summer, James Aranis was on the Philippines team that won it, and he's just starting out now in his second match against Pierre Francesco Garcia. Elsewhere, you can see the scores from around the tables there on your screen. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has won the 10th rack, so starting to pull away with the winning line coming into view on table 2 against Soon Lik Cheol, 7-3 there. Ralph Souquet back to 6-4 down against Trine Van Bin, and Torsten Homan 6-4 up over Ronnie Oldervik. 7-all now between Sandiam Pelovanovic and B. Trong An. The player from Vietnam was ahead in that one, turned around but has responded well to draw level. Sharik Saeed has taken the first against Patrick Gonzalez.
Yeah, not much luck there on a nice break off. Got the 1 down, nice spread. Not only snookered, but the purple 5 hanging makes it very difficult to push out. Maybe there's some type of kiss shot on the purple coming off the blue 2. He's going to go ahead and kick at it. Interesting now, right? It's twice in this match he's had a chance to push out, and he's elected to take on the kick. I'm not saying he is a terrible one. You know, the last one to me was better, but there, I mean, can't imagine he's a favorite. Really didn't get the safety at all there. Did get the 8 to cover up the 2, but he was trying to just stun the cue ball forward a little bit. Nice shot there. Got a little sliver off the 7, which helped maintain the snooker, but you got to give him credit, though. That was a nice hit off the side of the blue, too. It's kind of also still a little amazing to me, him pushing out. He recognizes when he needs to play safe, and he kind of goes about it the right way. And just kind of like with that kind of mindset, when you are playing safe, you would certainly be somebody that would normally push out if you're in a bad situation. But maybe just fancied his chances at kicking in that 2 into the purple 5. Smart effort, a little short, but what he knew was no matter what, he was going to leave a very difficult shot and difficult to get position as well. Could roll this in, trying to hold up just above the 6 for the cut on the red 3, and maybe a backdoor safety. This is the type of shot that I think the pocket plays super small. But no, did you see him hold the pause there? I mean, it's been no coincidence in my mind in this match how much better he struck the ball whenever he's had that little moment there. Probably going to bank the 3 down table. Now, again, you need to get the snooker with the 5 hanging in the lower right corner. You can leave all kinds of kicks that are possible, kiss shots, maybe even a combination. Did well, I think. So he's kicking to a very bare part of the table, so most likely a lot of speed on this. Wow, he really held the cue ball decently. Almost fluked it in the side. And you say fluke, but maybe a little intent there.
So a chance to lead by 3 for the second time in the match. He's already actually been a ranking event winner on the World Nineball Tour this year. Not one of the major events, but still a good one with a strong field. In Massachusetts back in March, had to beat some very good players. In the later rounds, he overcame Moritz Neuhausen, Jonas Suto, and then in the final he beat his former Moscone partner Skylar Woodward in a match that finished at almost 4 a.m.
Yeah, and you know, there's been a few of those for the Americans, you know, on this little bit smaller ranking events. BJ Ussery had a nice one earlier in the year.
Shane Wolford as well.
Yeah, that's right. That one was out at Oscar Dominguez's place in California, also defeating Skylar Woodward in the final. This is going to get very, very odd. I'm a little surprised he drew the ball, because once you draw it, you're going to go away from the 9 a bit. Here's probably it. Now Billy likes to go for his pocket on these banks, but he may be cutting it. We'll see. I'm trying to play a bit of a 2-way.
Suddenly, this 9 feels like a very big ball in the context of this match.
All right, cueing low, that usually means he's banking at it, trying to hold the cue ball. That way, if he misses, he's trying to leave a difficult shot. Oh, he cut it. Watch out for the timing shot here. Cue ball coming near the 9, could leave something odd. It's easy when you look at a shot like that to say, let me just hit it as thin as I can, but not really the approach. You got to get down and say, let me just hit it what it looks like correct.
So, saying that the 9 felt like a very big ball in the match, and Nguyen had the chance to get back to 1 behind there. And once more, the gap is 3. It means that Nguyen Quang Thien has now had the break 4 times in this match. We look at the winning 9 again. He's made something off the break every time, but he hasn't won any of those racks. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has been winning plenty of racks though. He's been gradually pulling away against Sun Lik Cheo, and now he's pulled away all the way to the hill. 8-3 there. Winner of that will play either Ko Ping Han or To Lian Han, and it's the latter who leads 6-4 at the moment. Ralph Souquet still putting up a good fight, back to 6-5 behind against Trinh Van Binh. Ionescu Andre is on the hill against Andrew John, 8-6 to the Romanian player there. Pius Labutus is another player on the hill, 8-3 against Almiel Leonor, and Sanyan Pelovanovic also needs 1 more, leads Bi Trong An, 8-7. James Oranis is winning first against Pier Francesco Garcia. So we return to see Billy Thorpe scratch at the start of rack 10.
What ball in hand does mentally for you, just kind of make you erase a lot of mistakes, or any mistakes really. Got a little bump on the blue too, so made the 2 a lot more difficult. I'm going to run this around the 5 a few rails. The ball's going to rest, and that's what happens when you get out of line with the first one. It's easy to stay out of line with the next few. I do think he's a shot maker though, so I think he can elevate the cue here if he wants to dig down on the ball. Looks like he's going to try and roll it. He may go by the 9 and scratch here if he makes this. Yeah, looked like it was heading in that direction. And I certainly think these pockets for day 1 are playing pretty tough.
We've seen this so many times today, a ball just hanging on the lip of the pocket.
Well, the Rassen, like a few other tables that we play big tournaments on, are very deep shelves. Okay, looks like you can get by the 7. Just wants to stay away from some awkward cueing as he comes between the 8 and 9 with the cue ball. Big shot here, though, to get the speed right. I think it is cuttable. Cue ball's going to have a little speed. I'm not so sure if he can draw it and kill it with inside English. He may have to go around the 7 a little above, or even a little bump on the 7. Nice shot. And a pretty sweet stroke there.
Well, it was all very close going early on when Quang Thien was 1 ball away from making it 3-all. It feels like a very different contest now. Billy Thorpe is taking charge of things.
Yeah, remember that 9-ball after a nice out that Thien made, and then he kind of shot the 9 pretty firm on that upper rail and hung it in the upper right corner. Really has kind of made a few mistakes behind it.
That is part of the reason Billy Thorpe now has his biggest lead yet in the match and only needs 2 more to advance. It's 7-3. So no update on the Francisco Sanchez Ruiz match. Still leading 8-3 against Soon Lik Cheo. Players on the hill, Pius Labutas, Sanyin Pelovanovic. Well, just as I said, they're still on the hill. Pius Labutas has won 9-3 against Emil Leonor. Andrei Ionescu has beaten Andrew John 9-6, and it's just gone hill-hill between Sanyin Pelovanovic and Gu Trong An.
Nice break off there from Billy. The break's been pretty solid overall. He's had one dry break, I think, and one scratch.
What for Billy, yeah, that's exactly right.
I think he can get at the blue too for the corner. It's close. The cross corner bank may go between the 7-9, and certainly a lot of cover. If he does decide to shoot it and happens to not make the bank, he can serve. I wouldn't even try to make it, I don't think. I think I would just play the cue ball up behind the 4-6 here, let the two cross over a couple rails. Watch out, trying to thin this one. Easily scratch. Nice hit. Very straight shooter, this guy. Perfect speed on the cue ball.
Getting to the point where I don't like using the term must-win rack, because the only one you absolutely must win is when your opponent's on the hill, but he doesn't win it, 8-3 down. It's hard to see it as the sort of match where he's going to turn it round.
Yeah, with that mess up the table, the 3-4-6 really was unplayable. I'm really a little surprised he kicked so hard there. There you're just looking for contact, get a rail. Don't try to disturb so much. Ooh, how thin was that? Just shaved the two to the side rail.
It was one of those where we saw the two moving, so we knew he'd hit it, but you couldn't actually see him making contact with it. It was...
Yeah, if you were out there, you wouldn't have probably heard contact either.
Not visible to the naked eye.
I think he was trying to play a bit of a two-way with a little cover across the table. Now Billy sets up pretty good here for a two-rail kick coming behind. Try and drag the cue ball back to that short rail it's near and let the two go up by the 8. Good speed. Oh, he got the snooker as well. It's amazing how the cameras can fool you sometimes, the overhead or one of the other cameras. All right, if you're going to jump at this, maybe try to come off his left side of the two and pocket the 8 maybe. Could try to hold the ball behind the 9. Got a double kiss. Move the cue ball way up table with 3 all the way back. The 2 down here and the 3 all the way back up. So let's see how Billy's feeling. Trying to get to that hill you were talking about.
I thought he showed a lot of spirit at the US Open, JJ, because he had that accident just as the tournament was starting. He was going round on one of those mobility scooters. But it always seemed to be the case with him that if there was any chance at all he was going to be fit to play, he was going to go out and give it a go. And he actually did pretty well in the end, made the last 64, then ran into Federal Gorst. But it was all very admirable that he gave it as much of a go as he did.
Yeah, I talked to Billy about that ankle right before this match. It's still black and blue, he said, but it's healed up quite a bit. Still tender when he turns inside a little bit on it. But he's a true warrior. It's funny how a guy like Billy, end up he wanted to catch the 6 a little thicker, he thought. End up a pool player because the attitude he has. Could have been an asset in so many ways, different sports, or whatever. Yeah. I think sometimes those banks get kind of, I'd say take it for granted, but maybe not as much of that discipline. Like if you watch the early part of this rack, there were two very difficult shots, and those capture his mind, meaning they grab his attention, and he puts forth the effort of his process a little more. That 2-ball off the end rail was a real nice one. The 3-ball was next.
Nguyen Quang Thien just fading a bit now in this match. That was a chance to get back in the contest in a rack that you have to feel he needs to win.
Yeah, laboring a little bit here, Billy, and likes to cut him, this guy, so I'm sure he's going after this one.
So a bit of work to do here and getting from the 6 to the 8, but you have to fancy if he gets it right. It's very hard to imagine him not getting through to winner's qualification when Quang Thien doesn't look to be in the sort of form to turn a match around from 8-3 behind. So a moment of big opportunity here for the American.
Yeah, big stretch as well right here. He has to work the cue ball quite some distance to get on the 8. Looks like he's cueing low left, so got to avoid the side and then the 9 as well. I mean, it's thin. Should be a ball he takes on. Coming up and down the table with the cue ball. It's definitely cuttable. This ball's about a half diamond up almost, and usually that's a makeable ball.
Now you have to feel he may just have handed the rack away. Not entirely certain yet because the ball fairly close to the pocket. Bit of uncertainty with the cue ball coming out, but a big surprise if this doesn't go 7-4.
Nice shot. Thien just kind of, as Carl says, has lost the plot a little bit with his game. And
yeah, that shot would not be a nice memory to take away if it turns out to be his last.
yeah, and I kind of feel like he's a player that leans on some confidence getting early in the match, and we saw him doing that early in the match, knocking some nice balls in. And just like right there, though, if you go look where you want, you're just not going to miss your mark. Not saying this is terrible or anything, but shot here. He's got to kind of roam across. This one, of course, the camera fools us at times, but this one looks like the cue ball could be heading towards the upper left a little bit. Okay, caught it thick.
Decent shot here. This may very well be all over in a few seconds. six ball that refuses to succumb. Probably will now, and so indeed may Nguyen Quang Thien. This is a clear chance for Thorpe to get this finished. Sanyin Pelovanovic has finally got it finished after what seems to have been a very long final rack against Bui Trong An. Pelovanovic winning 9-8. We'll now play Mickey Kraus of Denmark, who's only lost one rack so far in winners' qualification.
And Mickey played pretty well at the Perry Open as well, so should be a good one for two of the Europeans, Europe's young guns, excuse me.
Well, looks like it's all over here. It was close going early on. Nguyen Quang Thien was one ball away from making it 3-all, but once he missed that opportunity, Thorpe gradually improved and strengthened his control of the match. Yes, he's finishing with the shake of a head because he knows he's made some mistakes there. But overall, he's got the W, as you like to say, in your home country, JJ.